So let's map out the preferred customer journey first that we want, and then let's figure out what the processes look like inside of it. So I know the couple of simple things that I want. That marker is bullshit. So we want to eliminate the first couple points of contact or minimize them. If somebody comes on to the website, goes to a landing page, which is the video landing page, and fills out a form. So that's going to be a different action than if they come in through the cold email, because we're picking the people we're going to email, and so that's going to go straight to a calendar link. If they filled, okay, so actually no, we do need it from both sides, because if they fill in that scheduled request, we still need them in our CRM. So let's start with, so path one, which would be landing page. So if somebody comes on through the landing page, they're going to see a video, they're going to see the process, they're going to see whatever, and then we're going to say, hey, if this sounds like it's for you, fill out this form and we'll get in touch, right? So they enter via form. So that's okay. So this pulls them into our ecosystem. So when this happens, we need them to go into deals. So the first thing that needs to happen is they need to go into Active Campaign into our deal area, which is the CRM portion of it, right? Once they're into here, we need a first line of communication with them, which I want to be automated, but I want to say, this is an automated message to let you know that we received your request. And someone from our team will get back to you shortly, just so that they have like an automatic, because the one thing with forms is that people don't, when they fill them out, they don't know if they're ever going to hear back. So I want that first thing to be like, we got you, we're going to get back to you within 24 hours.
Yeah, I hate filling out a form and seeing that thing come back, because then you don't even know if it went through, right?
So, auto, thank you, email. So we'll have an automatic thank you email, which is like, hey, thanks for your interest. A member of our, this is an automated message, but just so you know, a member of our team is being signed, and we'll get in touch with you shortly. Then what I want the second message coming from Jess that says, hey, we've taken a look. So it doesn't matter where they come in from. It's all going to be, hey, we took a look at your form. We'd love to set up an introductory call to find out more about your needs. So then that's a request for intro call email. But I think we can automate that as well.
Yeah, you can.
Unless we wanted to vet the people more though.
I'll give you my idea after.
Okay.
So
This is
best
just
of both worlds.
Yeah. So this is just the framework.
Okay.
So comes into the deal. It's like, hey, thank you so much. Someone from our team will get in touch. You, Jess, the automation sends an email that's like, hey, thanks so much for your interest. I have intro. We do introductory calls on these days. Pick a time that works for you, and we'll learn about your needs. If they book the call through a Calendly link, so if they don't book, then we should send a follow-up email. And that's an automation based on Calendly. And if they do book, then it moves to something. And then once you've done the actual call, after call, this should move to, so it's a manual move to proposal. Right, so if they're a good fit, then you shift them over to into proposal. Then, but when the proposal starts, somebody's got to write it. So then we need there has to be a notification to be like, hey, this is moved to proposal stage. Can you guys write a fucking proposal, please? So, so that moves to proposal. That creates an internal alert to write the proposal. So that gives an internal message to Jenny or I or whatever saying, hey, proposal has been requested from this client. We have our templates that we're going to use, so we adapt it to whatever the business is. We get it ready. And then I think we manually move, so we manually move it to, we'll call it presentation stage. And then this sends an email to schedule sales call. And then if no reply, follow-up email. And then if reply, end. As far as the sales funnel goes. Right? So the gist of what we want to do, someone enters the form, we put them in our system, into our CRM saying there's a deal at hand. They get a thanks, we're going to check this out, request a call. There's a sequence if they don't book a Calendly, because we can integrate Calendly in. So if a Calendly call gets booked for this person, then it moves to here. If it doesn't, 2 days later it sends a response or whatever that sequence is. If they do book a call, then you jump on the call with them, basically here. After the call happens, if it makes sense to continue with them,
Yeah.
then you move their deal into the proposals tab.
Manually.
Then the sequence says, hey, if a deal hits the proposals part of the CRM, give Jenny and Mike an alert that a proposal needs to be written. We do the proposal, and then when we're done the proposal, we're like, hey, proposal is ready to present. An email goes out being like, hey, the proposal's ready. Here's some dates and times that we can book to present the proposal to you. And then it lets them book the call, sales call. If they don't book, sequence to follow up. And if they do book, then we book it, and then it goes to close one or close loss from there. That's the gist of what I want. Does that all make sense? So where are you thinking are some gaps? And let's use a different color.
I can simplify the middle chunk of that. You might actually want to erase that altogether.
Do you want to draw it, or do you want to?
Can you erase that altogether?
The entire thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or unless.
Take a picture of it, Jess.
Yeah.
Well, both of my cameras are being used. I'm not asking you to see.
I know, I'm opening it. My phone just keeps freezing. So.
Or I can just draw it on the side here. It's not that big a deal.
Tall guy, you're...
So, first thing's gonna happen is they're gonna land on the landing page.
Would it be easier to just rewrite?
No, it's fine. First thing that they're gonna do is land on the landing page. There's gonna be a video and any information that they need to know. Ideally, what I would like to have is a lot of trust factors, like testimonials. If we can get that, that'd be great. The more
We have a couple.
the more quantifiable and actionable, the better. For example,
we have some video testimonials, and we can get more.
Yeah, and I don't mean just like, oh, like I had a great time working with Mike. He's great. you should work with them. Like, this is how we got this company from here to here. As a direct result of our actions, this company was able to grow from this amount to this amount, something like that. The more specific, the better off we are. From there, there's going to be a button, call to action to get started. I'll just say that. Or the call to action, we'll think of afterwards, but this would take them to a form. And there's a software out there called Typeform. Have you guys ever heard of it?
Yeah.
So what it does is, instead of one big form that you fill out and hit submit, it essentially gives you question by question. It asks you one question, like, what's the name of your company? What's your revenue? And then with that, you can give them different responses based on what they put in. So for example, a really obvious one is we ask, what's the marketing budget? Right? If they say like, $100, then that would take them later on to a different answer being like, thank you, we'll be in touch.
Right. Here's a YouTube video on how to use the internet.
Yeah,
Why?
basically. No, yeah, basically that. But if they put in another number, 10,000 plus.
We can do
then,
it as a drop-down range as well.
Yeah. So depending on what range they put in, they'll get a different output. So for example, a really obvious one is if the only question we ask is, what's your marketing budget? If they put, 0 to 5,000, which is pretty low for us, that would take them to like, thank you, we'll be in touch. And then none of this gets triggered because it doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense to put them in a deal.
Just, I can see her eyes lighting up like, wait, I don't have to talk to the $200 people?
It doesn't make sense to go through all this to have an integration for them to be in a deal.
Well, no, and then if I were them, I'd be a little mad that I had to go through all that. Right?
No, but
that's good.
all
That's
it's
a good
gonna
way
say
of saying
is thank you. We'll be in touch.
Yeah,
and then you can have a simple email basically saying like, thank you. Unfortunately, you're not not like that, but
You're disqualified.
You out.
unfortunately, it doesn't make sense for us to work together.
Right.
And what that'll probably do is create scarcity on for them. So potentially later on they'll be like, shit, like, these guys rejected me. What? I've never been rejected. Like, people always want my money. These guys are saying no. Like, shit, like, I want to work with them.
Maybe in 6
Yeah,
months when I have a budget, I'll work with them. Yeah.
Exactly, and then
Yeah.
we can throw them into a different bucket based
I was gonna
on
say I wouldn't throw the people
the,
out.
the
Yeah.
amount that they put in. That's the one side.
But you know what that could turn into later is if
Courses.
6 months we build these mini course things, then that goes into the, hey, here's some self-learning that are like really short micro courses on how to do stuff. Why don't you check that out? It's a couple $100.
So yeah, so if they're, I'll write.
You're right.
Not qualified. Take them to a thank you, and then that can be a follow-up later on.
Yeah.
Later. And then we'll do the opposite with the people that have a sizable budget. I'm choosing budget. We can
Right.
use whatever criteria. It can be amount of employees. Marketing budget is the most obvious one.
The only thing I'm a little worried about, and maybe this is not a worry because maybe we're going to eliminate those people anyway, is a lot of the times when you ask people what's your marketing budget, they don't have a direct answer. I don't know if it's because they don't want to give out too much information, or if they actually don't know because they haven't done it before.
Yeah.
And I guess in the bigger picture, if people haven't really looked at it to that degree, maybe those are not the people we want to work with anyway, right?
The other one that most of the higher end agencies will ask is, one, what's your monthly revenue? Two, what monthly revenue do you want to hit within the next 3 months, 6 months? That's at least in the marketing industry, because a marketing industry's entire goal is to get you from where you are now to where you want to be.
Right.
If we have no idea where they are and where they want to be, we can't help. Right? That's how you address the objection of someone being like, oh, I'm not comfortable sharing my revenue. Right?
Yeah.
So that, the point is, we need some way to be able to qualify the people that come through here.
Yeah.
So once they're qualified, that would take them to a book a call section where they would book an intro call. Probably be with you, right? So they would book
So you're saying instead of putting it in saying, hey, we're going to get in touch, we can just let them freely throughout the process if we qualify them with type form.
Yeah, we with this, the purpose is to qualify them on a very surface level, just based on surface metrics like revenue, like marketing budget.
Which are pretty key indicators.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
us. There's not that much more we would know until we get on.
Yeah. The next step here is, with this step, we can book an intro call, which to me, an intro call is no more than 15 minutes. And it's exclusively for us to get to know their business, to be able to figure out if there's somebody that we can work with.
Yeah.
It's not a sales call. We're barely pitching them anything. We might talk about the company a little bit and what we do, but by no means are we pitching them anything. All it is to qualify them.
Yeah, and that'll be a Jess call.
Yeah. A lot of questions being asked to figure out if there's someone that we can work with. The 15 minutes is a small price to pay for all the follow-ups later on that come with.
For sure. And it's my
Right.
and the biggest thing is it's my 15 minutes, not his.
Yeah.
That's the bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
We do have to sit down and we do have to sit down and draft out what we want those questions
That was my
to be.
next
Yeah.
Yeah.
statement.
So that'll be you and I will have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would take them. So once they're qualified and once they book, that's automatically going to create a deal, and the deal will be called like intro call, whatever, right? And then that'll automatically integrate into your calendar, and then into Calendly and all that, because you can integrate. If we use Typeform, which is the software I'm thinking of, that'll integrate with both Google Calendars and Calendly,
Yeah.
so it'll show up there. That'll
Probably best, yeah.
go into deals as well, and then we can after the call continue on to here. Manual move to proposal, and then that happens.
I wonder if there's sequential form that's built into Active Campaign.
No.
No. I do like Typeform because it has this visual about it. The Hustle use it, Curran uses it. It's
I'll
got like
show
a
it to
very
you.
underwhelm. Like it doesn't overwhelm you. It's like answer this and then press enter.
So this is
User-friendly.
essentially
It's nice. Yeah.
kind of how I'm thinking of. There's a guy named Dim Nico. He runs a e-commerce agency. So when you click on become a client, it takes you to a landing page. It's a very, very well done form. Talks about everything that you need to know. Has a lot of testimonials, and then you would hit. Where is it at? Oh yeah, I want to celebrate a girl, and that would take you to a form where it kind of tells you that he's going to ask for some quick questions. You hit start, and then it's like, first of all, tell me about your business model, and then it shows like what you do. We do that, and then what's your current monthly revenue? It's 30,000, 200,000. From there, it's in 3 months from now. What is your target monthly revenue? Whatever. I want to hit 300,000. Okay. Next one is, what's your biggest obstacle in reaching this goal? And then you would type in and like a big question here. I really like this one. What's your biggest obstacle? Because that's something on the sales call that you can take advantage of. Because you already know their pain point. Like what's stopping them? Is it, having shitty employees that just don't align with the brand? Is it not knowing? Is it? So the form here have endless opportunities, and we can put any questions on there. The one benefit we get from having a longer form is we're really going to qualify somebody well, but we're going to get less leads because people are going to drop off. If it's a shorter form, then we're going to get more leads, but they may not be as qualified. So
I think because the product is going to be so specific, I'm fine to take people down a longer channel.
Me too.
Okay, so we can have a question like, what type of business are you? And then we have like e-commerce. Are you a service-based business, right? To figure out, because we're primarily trying to work with service-based businesses, right? So I think that automatically should be one of them, because we're gonna run into what are the big business models? E-commerce, service-based businesses. What else would there be? Software, right? And then we would only bring people down this way, assuming they're like a service-based business, right? So that I think should be one of them. Another one has to be some kind of number for like revenue, marketing budget, stuff like that.
Jess, take a note. There's so the Hustle, they have a thing where you can submit your business to be featured on the Hustle, like your small business, which I applied for the other day. On their Typeform, because they use the same thing, they had like the perfect list of industry that I'm in. Like it was so great. We could literally just steal their list.
Yeah.
It was like
And then-
really well broken down.
Yeah.
So do good.
And based on certain answers that people give, we can bring them down either this form or that form, right? So if somebody obviously puts in service-based, we'll take them down here. If someone puts in like e-commerce, anything, that'll take them to just a thank you, we'll be in touch type of thing. So that's, and then essentially what you're doing is you're creating these branches. So the first one is like, what type of business are you? This one takes you down the yes, we will work with you. And this one takes you down the no. And then from there, we can ask if they said yes to, we're a service-based business, what's your budget?
Marketing budget,
Yeah, if it's low, then that'll take you no, and then it goes to the thank you page.
Yeah.
If it's yes, it goes down another branch, yes. And then we can do this as many times as we want to qualify them. Right.
I don't know beyond the industry that you're in and your marketing budget, maybe some other things that don't really impact, but those are the two big things that we would care about. Now we might ask some other stuff so it feels like it's important when it's just filling it in for the sake of filling it in, ask a couple of more questions, but
number of employees,
and
business name, that kind
of
stuff.
that
Business
I think,
website, right?
Name and website. Maybe that goes at the top because that's a doesn't matter, and then those two are the last triggers for the yes or no to put them down the funnel.
Yeah.
Like the industry and the marketing budget.
Yeah.
Those two will trigger yes or no.
So are you thinking? So the path will be the same no matter where the lead's coming from, but the messaging and the form will be different. Or what do you think?
What do you mean by that?
No, this is
for a landing page, right?
This is
so I'm
specific. This is specifically for the I came across an ad or something, and I'm interested in your Google ad training.
Oh, okay.
That could also be something that's on the website, though.
Although, hold on though, because remember when we were talking about the landing page stuff, we were going to potentially just have Google and Facebook as the same page. Maybe we have to have them as separate pages, and take Facebook right out if we're going to really push Google as a product. Or are we saying that we're going to then make our answer to what you should be doing Google in every scenario, and we just call it advertising training, so that we're not narrowing it to, when they come on the page. The question is, do we want to say you have to do Google ad training, or are we going to say we're going to train you to advertise your business in the most effective way possible? We'll let you know what platform that is, and then it's going to be Google. From a sales perspective, some people that have been like, hey, I tried Google Ads before and I'm not into it. We're like, no, it's got to be Google Ads. They might be like, well, fuck this. I don't want Google Ads because they didn't work for me. No. But if we get them and then they're interested and then they're on the phone and we can justify Google Ads, like you were running them yourself, right? Because you fucking suck at running ads. No problem, we'll help you. But it stops them from being able to turn themselves away at the front if we don't force it to be a Google ad page. If we say advertising training as a whole, I think that's a better way.
That's another question that we can ask. Like, what mediums or what marketing methods are you taking advantage of either now or that you've done in the past? And then we have paid ads, SEO, outreach, just have a bunch of, just to get a better idea of.
That could be like a check, click all the ones that apply.
Yeah. And then you'll know beforehand on the call what objections you might expect. For example, if they check Google Ads and they're there saying my biggest obstacle is nothing fucking works, then you already know that ahead of time.
Right.
So that's really the power of the form. It's to not go into calls being blind, and you'll have a really strong idea of what to expect from it.
So then the question becomes, and I agree with all that, so the question becomes then after, when we get to here, so they're qualified, we're going to get them to book, they book. These two have to be manual. There's not a scenario that we can set up. Like, you have a call with them and then they sound like they're a good candidate. You have to manually move them into, yes, we're going to do a proposal, or no, we're not going to do a proposal. There's no automation for that.
That's fine.
Nor is there an automation for, now the proposal is done, now move it to the next stage. Unless we set up a task. Actually, we could. I think if we made the alert to write a proposal, the proposal creates a task on the deal, and the task is complete the proposal. And once that's checked, then it automatically moves into book a presentation email. We could automate that, or we could just literally just drag it into the next form.
I have to see with an active campaign, but I'm pretty sure like it doesn't make sense to automate one task where it's like sliding somebody over from done the intro call over to make a
No,
proposal.
I don't think
It doesn't make sense. But as soon as that's done, I can create something with an active campaign. I'm pretty sure that if somebody enters this column, which is proposal, then it will submit a notification to
you know what
whoever
we could?
is.
I wonder if we could do it based on a file upload. Proposal gets finished and the PDF gets dumped into Active Campaign. That triggers it to move it to book a sales call.
I haven't seen that.
Right, but even still, this eliminates so much other manual processes. I don't care if these two are manual. It's not a
Well,
big deal.
like at that point, I think if you're at the stage of setting proposals and you've done the intro call and all that, I think it should be manual communication.
Yeah.
Like there's only so much that you can automate. I think the early stuff to automate is really necessary because that's going to save a lot of time. But if someone is at the level where we've qualified them, we know that they're interested in.
Yeah.
We've sent a proposal.
And I think this email should still be automated.
Emails.
So we move it, so it moves from proposals initiated to proposal is done, and then the automation email says, "Hey Bill, hey Mark, we have everything ready to go. Would love to book a time to jump on a call and present everything to you." This should be automated still.
Honestly, I think if we qualify the leads properly and we're actually talking to people that are like really hot to buy and really have a pain point, really have a need for the product, I think at the end of the intro call, two things will happen. One, and you actually have to say this to them, like unfortunately we're not fit to work together. Maybe in the future we can follow up in like 6 months and see where you are. Two is based on the information that you've told me, I think we're a fit to work together. What we usually do now is schedule a call which is basically a sales call. Right on that call to get them to commit to a 45-minute call.
Right.
And then you would manually just schedule that into Calendly, and that's it. And then if they ask for a proposal, we can make this happen.
Right.
But I would honestly jump straight to the sales call.
No, I agree with
from
that.
here.
But the need to put it in a proposal is to give us enough time to make sure we write it before we're like, hey, we gotta. But I agree. If they're interested at the intro call, we should actually try and book them in on a call. We should just always make sure it's like a full week from the time that you did the intro call. This time next week, because we're only gonna do these calls and sales calls on certain days anyway. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we could say, hey, same time next week.
Yeah.
And then that always gives us a week to put the presentation together. And honestly, if it's the Google Ads stuff, it's just changing the fucking name and adding in whatever their pain points are, and we're done.
There you go.
There's not going to be much.
Yeah.
Once we finish templating it out, so I kind of like that better than creating additional emails and creating. If we can get them to commit at that level, then let's just do that. That makes it a lot easier. Sweet. That's the gist of it.
Good coffee. Questions?
Yeah, I mean, I think from the high level, that's everything. I think getting this built out as the core is the most important piece. I think there's some other stuff we want to do. So some of the examples of that are like, so if we want to remarket to people, although I don't know if that would happen in an active campaign. It wouldn't.
What are you trying to do?
Well, my thinking is so if we're running ads, which I do think we should, I think ads landing on this page, like we were talking, I showed them some ads that are just like, fire your agency, and then it explains like what it is. It's for somebody that's doing e-commerce marketing, so they're saying fire your agency and hire us as an agency, rather than we'll train you, so it's a little counterintuitive. Their version was counterintuitive. But like, if people see some piece of content about it, whether it be the YouTube ad we talked about or whatever, they come to the site, but they don't start to take an action, we should, at some point, or we should think about remarketing. What I had in my head is within Active Campaign, you can say once someone gets to this stage, remove them or add them to a custom Facebook audience. So maybe what we do is we remove them from the remarketing funnel via that within ActiveCampaign, right? So we can say if they get to this stage, if they get to the proposals because they've obviously had the call and we've already got our hooks in, or we had to move them out. Either way, when that thing happens, we should remove them from the custom Facebook audience so they don't receive remarketing about it. Eventually, when we get those ads set up, but that doesn't have to be a now thing. Like this is the now thing, and then I think after that.
From a technical perspective, there's a lot of different ways to do it. For example, I know the hired plans of Typeform, you can pixel the actual form. So based on how far people get, you can put different objectives. I'm pretty sure that you can do it with Calendly too. If not, then you can. I'm pretty sure you can. Once someone submits a call in Calendly, you can take them to a thank you page and pixel that as well.
Right.
And then that audience will just automatically be in Facebook because we can put people in custom audience based on what URL.
But what we could also do, and I don't know if we can, but now that you just said that, if we get their contact information at the front end, we could almost send them like an abandoned cart email. Hey, you started filling out the form. Did your kids start screaming, or did you get pulled away from your desk?
Those forms save my life every day.
No, I think that would be a good hey, later that day. Hey, saw that you came on, didn't finish the form. Is there anything you needed to know? And then try and push them back to finish that form. If we can do that within Typeform, we should do that.
Yeah.
Just treat it as an abandoned cart.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure in Calendly you can schedule reminders as well. Like, hey, you have an intro call tomorrow. Hey, you have an intro call in 30 minutes or an hour.
And there's an opt-in because we're on the premium. There's an opt-in for an SMS notification. Do you want an SMS notification that your meeting's going to be in 30 minutes? So it gets on their cell phone, and then they're like, hey, this call's coming up.
Yeah.
So we can set up those reminders within Calendly. Yeah. But I think I like this, and then going into that, pushing straight from the intro call to the sales call and giving ourselves a 5 to 7 day buffer to get the proposal ready, and then that way I can get all the information I need to go finish the sale.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for the intro call for you to establish those expectations really early on. Be like, this is not a sales call. I'm not going to be pitching you anything. The purpose of this call is to get a better understanding of your business to see if it makes sense. Just because I know one objection, people are going to be like, why the fuck do I have to schedule 2 calls? As long as you make that up front really clear.
We have to add that in there.
What?
The first call. Right now it's just right to sales call.
It's just an intro call. Yeah.
No, I'm just looking at our funnel
here,
our red funnel here. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Request for intro. Yeah. So this is going to take over this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The blue, and then we're going to get rid of.
Yeah.
Although if they qualify and don't book intro, we do have to have a follow-up to say, hey, you filled out this form and we didn't hear back. At the end of it, you didn't book a call. Like, when would you like to book a call? So this still has to happen. This comes out in place of that, but this still has to happen. If they give us all their information and at the end of that sequence they don't book, similar to the abandoned cart feel, be like, hey, you filled out the form. We'd love to jump on an intro call to learn more about your business. Here's the link. Go do it. So that one or two has to happen there. But yeah, we can move that out in place of that. I like that better.
Yeah. And that's going to really streamline everything. It's a very obvious process. It's very it moves very smoothly through. You kind of eliminate a lot of the between the book, the intro call, and the actual sales call. You kind of remove all that clusterfuck in the middle where it's like communicating and all that stuff. You book the call right on that call.
Yeah.
So let's take a picture of that. I'm going to stop the video. I think that's like a good